Welcome to Momivate Momversations. It is so good to have Diana here with me. I'm Regan Barnes, and Momivate is a nonprofit organization. We've been around for about 5 years, but we're a very young organization still, just because we are moms first. Motherhood is our highest priority, and it's our passion. And we really want to share that passion with other moms and bring joy and confidence into motherhood. So we are going to use this platform. We're really grateful and excited for the Win-Win Women platform, and we're hopeful that everything will be smooth and easygoing. We actually used this platform a couple of years ago, and then life happened and caused us to take a break and not run the show for that time frame. So it's fun and exciting to be back. And I will give Diana a minute to introduce herself. And how long have you been with Momivate? And what does motherhood look like for you?
Well, hi everyone. I am Diana Duke, and I am a single mother of 4 amazing children. And I have been a part of Momivate going on, is it 4 or 5 years? It's like
You passed your 4-year mark.
Oh
so
yeah,
you are going towards that 5-year. Yeah, I've been so glad to have you just stay with our team with all of those ups and downs.
Well, I love motherhood, and motherhood's definitely not going anywhere. So
As long as we keep having children, then we'll keep having motherhood.
yes.
Well, awesome. Well, we will get to know you more and more over the course of this specific episode, but also Diana's going to be kind of a regular with us and come on and share her insights over time, as we also have other guests possibly. And, she has to fit it in with the rest of single mom life, including a profession. What's your job?
I am the housing navigator. I work at USARA. So
And
I
that's
love it.
addiction recovery?
Yes, it is.
Okay, very cool. And so yeah, providing housing is essential. That's a really critical first step for people who are coming through that. That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, great. Okay, so moms, since part of our goal is to increase joy in motherhood, we have come up with an acronym based on the word smile. A while ago, I heard a scientific thing, and we all like the scientific stuff, right? It makes us believe it more if there's been a scientific study about it. So this scientific study says that if you even just make the action of smiling, and sometimes you really can't make yourself do that, right? Like you're just so overwhelmed or in the doldrums or whatever it is. But you can take a pen, this is a pencil actually, works too, and you can stick it in your mouth like this so that it is making you smile. And you will gain some of the same benefits as if that was a real smile. And I think that's so interesting that it's built into our physiology to just the act of smiling, even if it's forced. It will still help our brain send out those certain like endorphins or whatever the scientific word is, that lifts us up and kind of like, so there's a physiology to a smile is I guess what I'm saying, as well as the psychology of it. But sometimes it's easier to change the physiology by sticking that pencil in than it is to get the psychology going. But we're going to add to the psychology of it too by giving you this acronym of things that will increase joy in motherhood. And the first is for the letter S, because that's the first letter in smile. And that is the word support. I feel like there's some unwritten rule out there that we have to break that says moms can't get support. The moms are the support to other people. So no, you can't go get support. And that's just wrong. And so here is your official permission from the Momivate team. You can get support. And sometimes it's as simple as just letting somebody know you need it. And in some cases, life makes it clear to people that you might need support, but they don't know how to support you. And so being willing to accept their willingness and then give them some clear ideas is a really critical part of having support. So we each have a couple of ideas and stories of what we can share with you as far as what might help you feel supported. I will let Diana go first.
Well, I think it's very important to first acknowledge that that it's okay to need support, and then to also be that support for other women. Sometimes when you're in that need of that crisis mode of needing support, you don't always know what it is that you need. And so I feel like us as women, that if we can see that need and we know what that woman next to us needs, to just go ahead and take the lead and help them along the way, because
Kind of
we don't
force
always
it on
know.
her. I have an example of that. I was in the Mothers of Twins Club because I was a mother of twins, but my twins were older. I don't remember exactly how old they were, 5 or 6 years old. And I had a fellow friend, mother of twins from that club, whose babies were newborns. And I just decided to show up one day and say, you know that I can handle this because I had twins too. So I'm going to handle the babies and you're going to go take a nap. And she was like flabbergasted, like, how did you know I need a nap? And I was like, because you're a mother of twins. A mother of one infant always needs a nap. So a mother of twins is going to need a nap. And so luckily she didn't argue. I think she was too tired to argue with me. And off she went to get that nap. And I'm glad that it occurred to me to just pop in and do that. Because if I had texted in advance, I think she would have just been like, no, I'm fine. No, don't bother. Oh, I don't want you to, take time out of your day. But I just did it, kind of forced it on her.
And I think that that's what is important to do, because there seems to be this shameful stigma behind, or maybe people just don't want to feel like they're putting somebody out, or
Being a burden.
yeah, being a burden. But really, I feel like it's not only is it completely necessary for the person that's in need of support, but let the person that's supporting you have that moment, because they may need that more than you do, even, because we all
Yeah.
feel so good when we help others.
I think that's true. My mom passed away just in these, it's been almost a year actually. And I was really kind of getting this feeling of like the doldrums. And I have a conviction that trying to reach out and help somebody else can kind of help me work through that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it solves all my problems or that I'm all of a sudden cheery and happy all the time. But I actually kind of created a situation again where I saw a cute mom. So here in Utah, I don't know if this is regular across the nation, but in Utah, they give kids half days on Fridays, every Friday. And the reason they do that is so the teachers have the rest of the day. So the teachers have to work the full day, but the teachers have that free time not being in charge of kids where they can do all the administrative parts of teaching, the planning and the grading and all of that. So I think it's fantastic that the school system gives that to the teachers, but as the parents, it just throws off the schedule, right? You're
Yes.
Monday through Thursday, I know what times and everything, but then it comes to Friday and I'm like, what?
We had a school actually in Utah that it had their early out day on Wednesdays, and that really threw me for a loop.
Yes. Yeah, crazy. So, this mom, I just knew she was in the midst of the young motherhood where there were still younger kids at home. And I knew that pickup time on Fridays was during nap time. And so I just approached her and I was like, I'm going to bring your kids home on Fridays so that you don't have to wake up those little ones. And so luckily she accepted it, and there's no way that she's like compensating me. So it's truly just helping her. And it's not like she's earning the help, you know? She doesn't drive my kids anywhere at other times or anything like that. And I'm just so glad that she's willing to let me serve her. Cause like you said, sometimes it's about me needing to do the service. So yeah. But would you be willing to share your story of when the person kind of forced their help on you?
Yes, absolutely. So I was in a moment of absolute and utter crisis. My husband actually had recently passed away, and it was unexpected, and I was devastated. And not only that, I had just given birth. When he passed away, I was actually pregnant. And so I was hit with grief and postpartum and just everything that you could imagine. And I was struggling to even get out of bed, let alone, do anything. And I'm having to force myself to do this because I'm now a single mom of 4 kids, and dishes were piling up in the sink, and people would call me and ask me, what can I help you with? What do you need? And you can't ask a crazy person what they need because
They're not able to think straight.
yes, I wasn't able to think straight. And this amazing neighbor of mine, who I just adore to this day, she just kept showing up and would say, you know what, I'm going to do your dishes for you. And I was just like, what? Why would you want to do my dishes? And I was a little bit embarrassed because I didn't want anybody to see that I had dishes piling up in the sink.
Right.
But I just felt so much love from her and so much support. And she just kept showing up and kept doing it. And through that connection, I was able to heal so much from that action alone.
That's beautiful. Oh, I'm so glad that you shared that. I love it. I had a neighbor who I think could tell I was going through some hard times, and she just invited me to come to her house for lunch one day. And I in that moment I couldn't leave my house. And so she brought a homemade lunch over to me and just sat with me and let me cry. And it was one of those situations where crying needed to happen. And it was a simple way to feel supported and get through some of those hard times. I wanted to share about my sister who had a neighbor who would let her bring, so my sister would bring the other side of the listening device for, like, your babies, when your baby is sleeping and you want to listen in on whether they wake up or not. Sorry, the word is escaping me, but yeah, so the neighbor would listen for the baby while my sister ran out and run errands while the baby was napping. And I thought that was like the cutest little relationship. So the neighbor was still at her own house. It wasn't putting her out too much. And the baby was just getting a good couple-hour nap, and my sister was able to run some errands. So that's another idea of how you can ask for support. And we, like I said, we give you permission. Ask for support.
In fact, we invite you to. We don't even just only give you permission. We invite you to try it.
Encouragement right there. Yep. The M in smile, we're going to move to that. The M in smile is for music. This is a powerful tool that we all need in our mothering tool belts, kind of like Batman has a tool belt, right? We've got to have this in our tool belt because music does something that just words can't do. So we wanted to share some ways to make music part of your motherhood. I know for me, lullabies were probably the most obvious and first way that I used music in my motherhood, was just as I rocked that baby, and I would kind of la 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 to the baby. And the nice thing about babies is you really can just la la la. You don't have to, your words don't have to make sense. The songs don't have to rhyme. You just, put those nice lilting tones to work. How about you? Do you have any music ways that you use in your motherhood?
I definitely agree with the lullabies. In fact, I remember being sung to as a child often. I grew up in a very musically inclined family. And my grandmother, my grandfather, my mother, just always singing those words of comfort. And I really cherish all those moments and share them with my kids. I also love to listen to music if I'm feeling stressed out or having, one of those off days, or
Yeah.
if I just can't get the gumption to quite get going.
Yeah.
I love to put on some music and just rock out.
Yeah, there you go. It does something to you, right? Like
get
in
my
those moments that
blood
you need
going.
energy, there's certain songs that are going to lead to that energy. What are your songs that you go to for leading for energy?
Well, I love listening to Ed Sheeran or Taylor Swift.
Okay.
They often get me moving, and yes, I love it.
You're Swifty. You're Swifty. There
I
you go.
am.
That's so fun. Yeah, I totally agree. And then there's, like you were also saying, there's the moments when we actually need things to calm down. And we're like, okay, what kind of music is going to help me feel a little more peace, a little more calm? So I think for me, that's when like classical music has a place because it doesn't require my brain to think about the words. And it's just kind of this nice little piano or whatever violin going on. I used to tease my own mom actually about because she was all about classical music. And I was like, oh, good, that's so boring. But sometimes that's just what my body needs is the boring, not having to think about the words and just
The melody.
so exactly. I have a artist that I'd like to introduce people to if they haven't heard of J.J. Heller. So her first name is just those two initials, J.J., and then her last name is Heller, kind of like Keller, like Helen Keller, but with an H. So, but she just has this beautiful lilting voice and is definitely a mom. Like I've been to her website and I do think that her motherhood like flows into her music and affects it and influences it. So I just wanted to put a plug in there for JJ. So all right. So smile has an I in it, and this is for inspiration. I think that our brains are somehow wired to be consistently looking for inspiration, for ways to be uplifted. And so I just want to encourage moms to look around and look at moms, maybe like a mom whose husband passed away. I know my brother passed away and his wife has been really inspiring to me with how she has managed. It's been 10 years now. Man, when you get that phone call, something like that, you think 10 years will never pass. How long has it been for you?
It's been 10 years also.
Has it?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
In fact, almost 11. In March, it will be 11 years.
You're coming up on that.
Crazy to me.
Yeah. And that just is probably still a hard time when that March time frame comes.
It is. Some years are harder than others, but it's definitely.
You've continued going, and it's not always death. We happen to have those as examples, but I know in my case, my mom was always very inspirational to me, and in her case, it was divorce. My dad just left and abandoned our family, but she kept going, and I think that I didn't quite understand how hard that must have been.
Oh yeah,
for
absolutely.
her, just watching as the child, right? But as now that I'm a mom and I'm not a single mom, and it's still got some stormy waters sometimes, and I think, wow, my mom went through this as a single mom. So what inspires you? What kinds of situations do you look around and be like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it?
I'm inspired all the time, everywhere I look. There are some pretty fierce women out there. And I am inspired by, women that are working and, or women that have gone to school. So my stepmom, she keeps really wanting me to go back to school, and I would love to, but right now I have so much on my plate, and I'm just so inspired by, she has all these different degrees, and I'm definitely it's not that I'm ruling it out, because I'm going to do it, just not right at this moment in time. I just have a lot on my plate.
Well, sometimes that's how inspiration works, right? It doesn't mean in the moment. It just means you kind of log it in your head like, okay, it is possible. I can possibly in the future see myself following that good
Yes.
example and that inspiration.
Definitely.
So,
But even the women that I see who have these immaculate, clean houses, they inspire me too.
right.
I feel very inspired, and I hope to one day achieve that status. No.
And in the meantime, it's self-love and laughter. That's what the L in SMILE stands for, is laughter. So being able to see the messes and laugh is, I think, a really important skill.
Definitely, most definitely, especially when you've had some doozies.
Great. Yeah. And you were telling me earlier about one.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I had two of my daughters get into some fabric paint. And if anybody has used fabric paint, it serves a purpose to stain fabric. And they were literally covered in purple fabric paint from head to all over their little bodies. They were in diapers. Just having a heyday, and I said to them, "Did you guys get into the paint?" As if I didn't know. I don't know why I asked
Yeah,
that,
why
but-
did you have to ask?
And I saw two little white eyes. And
So shaking their heads at you.
Of course they didn't, but I don't know how they were purple.
That's funny. Yeah, I could tell some mess stories too. For one of them is when my twins were just babies, and I pretty much spent the first 6 months just planted on the couch nursing. Like that's what I did with the twin babies. So one of these days I had the easy to nurse twins pillow. It kind of belted me in. And then I would set the twins on the pillow and nurse them both at the same time. That's actually critically necessary in case anybody out there with twins is thinking that through, like, how am I going to do this? Nurse them at the same time, because, otherwise you don't have any time. So anyways, out of the bedroom come my two boys. So I had two older boys. They were ages 2 and 4, and they were naked, like 100% naked, and just laughing. And they said, "Mom, we made it snow. We made it snow in our bedroom." And it's like, if I was in the midst of snow, I don't think my first thought would be, let's peel off our clothes and get naked. So I knew it wasn't real snow, right? It wasn't like, hold it up.
Oh, I
But
can see where this is
finally,
going.
finally I finish nursing twins and I get in the bedroom to see what this snow is. And they had several little stuffed animal type pillows that they had cut open. And all of the snow from inside these pillows was all over that room. But they were just so joyfully having fun that it was really actually kind of hard to be mad. So I decided to just laugh. And that's become one of my themes. If you can laugh about it later, you might as well laugh about it now.
You might as well. I mean, I laugh all the time thinking about how my children are little tiny carbon copies of me. The good and the not so good, but
you don't have any not so good. I always like to think that life is kind of like my kids are like those funhouse mirrors that might be like at a carnival or something, and they just kind of distort everything. So yes, these kids of mine are little copies of me, but in these like funhouse mirror types of ways.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
So yeah, so I highly encourage you moms to, if you really want to make a science of this laughter thing, because it is the best medicine, right? And it's impossible to overdose. So, but yeah, go ahead and write these things down so that you can reflect upon them again later when you really need to laugh. Right. You can be like, okay, this is one of those tense times and I need to remember something funny. And so
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to encourage, kind of a an action thing to tell you what to do.
Or just put that pencil or pen in your mouth and try to laugh as well. No.
Okay, very good. So the E in smile, this is for empowerment. And I think this, like the word power makes me think of like somebody putting their arms up, like they're gonna have muscles going, right? Um, and I do think just like with muscles, you do have to put some conscious effort sometimes into growing. And that's what empowerment means to me, is taking advantage of opportunities to grow, and being willing to put that little bit of effort and exercise into it, and discovering like hacks and tips and tricks, and then putting them into use, because that's where the power comes, is the using, not just the knowing.
Nice.
The difference between knowing and doing. So, so with empowerment, sometimes it's helpful to have that like categorized of like, okay, so where do I want to set goals? In what areas do I want to progress? And in the Momivate world, we have the Raise Up acronym that kind of defines what moms do outside of the laundry, outside of the driving and the chef, right? Short order cook
Yes.
work. Moms raise up society. And so if you're wondering where to set goals, these are the areas are for relationships. It really, that's critical. If you don't have good relationships, you just don't have anything.
Yeah.
A is for atmosphere. That's like realizing that our households have an atmosphere that we can create. I is for income and outgo. So when our finances are in order, life just feels more doable, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's not just finances in terms of what money is coming in, but also what money is going out. And if we can have an influence on our income that way, or our financial stability, through making better choices about how to spend the money, you know? The S is for schedules and systems, and this is like the routines that help life go smoother. I think it was interesting when Christmas break ended for one of my kids to say something like, "I'm just so glad we'll go back to school because then we'll have like a schedule." And I thought that, yeah, kids like that. They prefer the security of a schedule, even though it's nice to have a break. They loved Christmas break, right? The E in Raise Up is for energy. So what we eat, whether or not we exercise, if we go to sleep, I always, sleep is one of those I discount sometimes, but and the U in Raise Up is for unique circumstances. And that can be things like being a single mom, or in any case, whether it's divorce or death. There's all kinds of ways. Having twins is one of those unique circumstances.
Raising children with special needs.
Yes, and our children can have a variety of special needs. There's
Absolutely.
autism, there's the situations where fostering or adoption is part of it, LGBTQ. My mom had a son go to jail, so that's a unique circumstance.
Moms that are recovering from addiction.
Yes.
I mean, all sorts of
Yes.
unique
Yeah.
circumstances.
And I think it's critical to recognize there's no such thing as a motherhood mold. And then we're each just needing support, going through whatever we're going through. And the P is for personal pursuits. And that does tend to come last, just like it does in the acronym. But we want you moms to realize you're worth it. Be willing to keep those goals and personal pursuits on the table. Not, we talk about on the back burner, but sometimes we just shove them off the stove altogether. And we just want to tell you, make time to follow your passions, use those skills and talents that you developed pre-motherhood.
Yes, your kids need you to be the best you. And to be the best you need to take time for yourself.
Yeah. And you need to smile. So thank you so much for joining us today at Momivate's Momversation. about the SMILE acronym to help you bring more confidence and joy into your motherhood. We will be back again next Thursday, and we will take time to be interactive. If anyone is with us on the Zoom, then we can answer questions together, have discussions, talk through what it is that makes you smile and enjoy motherhood.